Hi everyone, I'm Heather Poduska, Starmaker for entrepreneurs who want to unlock their potential, command any stage, and make blockbuster profits. Welcome to Thrive, the show where I bring you tips, resources, and people to help you create a brand that makes you happy and profitable. Here we go. Hi everyone, welcome to Thrive. This is episode number 6, How to Create Client Seductive Marketing with guest Rob Schultz. Rob Schultz is a marketing messaging guru who teaches entrepreneurs worldwide the secrets of seduction, so their ideal clients will want them like crazy and buy like crazy. On today's episode, Rob shares with us how we can create marketing copy that sizzles, why many entrepreneurs struggle to find their ideal clients and how you can avoid that, and what he learned in Hollywood working on blockbuster films like X-Men and Vanilla Sky and how that applies to entrepreneurs. Rob is wicked smart and a real charmer. I hope you enjoy the show. Hi everyone, I'm Heather Poduska, Starmaker for entrepreneurs who want to unlock their potential and command any platform to make blockbuster profits and grow their business. Welcome to this episode of Thrive, where I bring you tips, resources, and people to help you create a brand that makes you happy and profitable. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. You are in for high-value content coming to you from industry leaders who are growing their business, making an impact, and rocking their brands. And I'm thrilled to have my special guest here with me tonight, Rob Schultz. Rob Schultz is the owner of ProfitSeduction.com, where he shows entrepreneurs worldwide how to apply the secrets of seduction that prompt their ideal prospects to want them like crazy, and more importantly, buy their things like crazy. He helps his clients create breakthrough profits through seductive messaging, sizzling signature products, and launches that rake in the revenue. As the founder of ProfitSeduction.com, he recovered from a devastating financial setback in the recent real estate crash to build a six-figure business using many of the same seductive secrets he shares in his products, presentations, and his work with clients. Rob has also spoken on many high-profile stages across the country, including the Rise Live event, the Be the Change event, the Close the Room Intensive, and Speakers Summit. Rob is in high demand for his seductive messaging secrets that drive revenue windfalls for entrepreneurs. So thank you so much for being here, Rob.
My goodness, who wrote that intro?
I think you did. Aren't you the
good.
copy expert?
Sounds good. This guy must be pretty good.
Well, I think he's pretty good. That's why he's on the show.
I have a lot to live up to now, so let's go.
I'm sure that you can. So now that we've finally started, what is a profit seduction specialist?
A profit seduction specialist is someone who actually uses the principles of seduction to increase sales, to increase impact from the stage, to increase the response on your webinars. What seduction basically does is it leverages something that your audience is already looking for. So instead of trying to convince them that you have what they need, you get in front of what they already need with what you have. And so literally from the word go, you're halfway to the sale.
So what does that mean to get in front of them? What does that mean?
To get in front of them, a lot of people, and I interface with a lot of coaches and consultants on Facebook every day. And what I find is that a lot of people, what they're trying to do is they're trying to talk about what they have first. And I know a lot of us we don't want to sound salesy. And the problem is when you start with, hey, I'm Rob, I have a product, and you start talking about it, it feels salesy. So the key with seduction is rather than starting with what you have, you're starting with what they need. So you're connecting with them at the level of what they want, which is what seduction does. It awakens desire. So instead of convincing them to buy, you're getting in front of what they're already looking for and positioning what you have as the gateway to help them get where they want to go.
Cool. I love that. So one question I have about that is kind of a chicken and the egg question.
Okay.
And that is getting in front of the client, getting and positioning yourself, listening. I'm assuming that you are a big fan of listening to what they want, asking and listening.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of doing, for one, doing research on your market and knowing your market actually before you start talking to them. So you have an inkling of some of the things that they're going through. And I'm always surprised when I work with clients or when I talk to entrepreneurs, and one of the first things they say is, well, how do I find that out? And to me, that's one of the biggest reasons people struggle with what they're trying to do, with trying to sell and with trying to earn a living and with trying to have a great business and be successful, is, again, they're pushing what they have instead of answering a need that the market has with what they have. So yeah, there are two things there are two kind of concurrent lines that you need to listen to. There's the information line and the emotion line. The information line is what they're telling you. The information line is, I'm struggling with A, B, C, D. For example, with someone who comes to you might say, I'm doing really well in my business, but everything about my brand looks like 5 years ago. It's old, it's stale, and I don't have time to upgrade it, and I don't know how to upgrade it. So that's the information line, and that's all good. You also want to listen to the emotion behind that, because the emotion behind what they're saying drives sales. So while they're telling you, Heather, my look is like 5 years ago, it's old, it's stale, the emotion is, I'm afraid I'm losing an opportunity that I can never get back. Because while I'm doing okay, because my look is old and stale and doesn't reflect who I am, there's that fear of I'm losing sales, I'm losing opportunities, and I'm going to get stuck where I am right now. So there are a couple different actual kind of conversations going on when you talk to a prospect. There's what they're telling you, and there's the emotion behind what they're telling you. And seduction deals with both, but it really deals quite a bit with the emotion, because the emotion drives the sale. The pain they're in drives the sale. The dream, the outcome, the ultimate destination of where they want to take their business is what drives them to work with you. And it's that emotional experience of hope, possibility, actually seeing their future and experiencing their future, whatever it is, having a great website. Because of you, now they're invited to great speaking gigs. They connect with high-profile people because they have a high-end look. That is the reason they're hiring you, is because you're able to get them into that emotional space of experiencing that even before they have it, and convincing them that you can get them there.
Cool. I love that. And I definitely agree that I just wrote a blog post about it, is that having that color in your voice, in your branding voice, of evoking emotion, so that it's, because honestly, if I hear another person say 6 figures in 12 months, I'm going to puke, because there's no differentiation.
Although it's now 10 months.
Oh, okay. Well, hey,
the attention spans are shorter, so it's now 10 months.
Rock hard abs in 7 minutes, and now it's 6 minutes. Right? But there's nothing that is emotional. I mean, yes, that piece of the result of the 6 figures in 10 months is an emotional piece of the profit, but there's no voice behind it. There's no unique pull and to use some of your words, like sensuality and excitement and sort of tweaking someone's emotions with it and showing who you are in an authentic way. So talk to us a little bit about that, because brand voice is so important, and you are such a phenomenal wordsmith. I'm wondering how people who are not who are not genius wordsmiths can really start to tap into that emotion with their copy and getting in front of their client, like you talked about.
It's a great question. I mean, what I do, I mean, and what I do when I really work with or listen to clients, prospects, people in groups, one-on-one clients, is I really try to listen to what they feel is unique about what they do. And part of the problem that I find with people is that they're making it too complicated, is that they are, what they don't realize is that coming up with hooky language, and a lot of people ask me, come up with a great title, and they're very disappointed when I then ask them a lot of questions about their offer, because the hooky title comes out of your uniqueness. It doesn't come out of my brain. I'm listening for your uniqueness, and then it's basically I clothe whatever that is with words, and so it sounds hooky. But really the thing that you're looking for is, and this is actually an exercise that I can give your viewers so they can start doing it for themselves, is that write, one of these nonstop writing exercises. Write for a minute nonstop about what makes you unique. And then what you're going to do is you're going to pick individual words out of that stream of consciousness that you kind of wrote, and you put them together. Sometimes you literally, a phrase will literally jump out and like grab you. And a lot of times that's one of the ways when people say, how do you write headlines? What I do is I write all of the copy first, and then I grab the phrases. As I'm reading through the copy, I grab the phrases that grab me. And I put them in a separate document and I weave them together to make a headline. So it's very similar to it's very similar to process to coming up with a unique way to describe what you do, what makes you different, that is going to hook your prospects. And what it does, see, when I usually ask people what makes you different, and even if I say in 2 sentences or less, I get like, the Guinness Book of World Records longest description of what someone does. And so, and when you're at a networking event, no one wants to hear that. No one wants, we've all been in a networking event and say, what do you do? And then we go, oh, why did I ask that question? Because you're then trapped listening for the next half hour while they describe it. So what you're doing is, that's a tendency of everyone. So just get that out, get it all out on the page, and then just boom, you just piece the little pieces together. And it may be, I'm the prophet command magician. I'm the prophet authority alchemist. That's the hook. A lot of times the other way that I use for both titles and to describe what you do is what I call a hook and a hankering. So,
okay. Tell us what that is.
A hook is a hook. It catches their attention. Doesn't? It's usually, it's good if it's closely related to what you're talking about, or what a process you deliver, or an outcome you deliver. But the primary goal.
Can you give us an example? So give us an example of a hook.
Okay. So a hook might be, I did a webinar recently for my webinar Seduction class, and the hook was webinar empire. So you still don't know what it is, but it's like, ooh, I think I'm interested in that. So it hooks their attention. The hankering actually describes the outcome you deliver.
Okay.
So for example, we're all looking for interesting ways to introduce ourselves at networking events. And one time I decided I was just going to be totally out of the box. And people said, what do you do? And everyone's going through the traditional description. So they said, Rob, what do you do? And I said, I'm a zookeeper. And I just stopped. I didn't say anything else. And everyone kind of at the table went. And I just let the silence sit for a little bit. And finally someone said, what do you mean? And I said, I have your your prospects eating out of your hand, even when it's not feeding time.
Nice.
So they all got it. So it's a hook and a hankering. It's the
Mm-hmm.
hook that gets them to stop
Mm-hmm.
and kind of go, what is that? And the hankering, which gets really specific about what you do. Now, the zookeeper example was a little bit, kind of off the wall, but it's really about catching their attention with something hooky that's related to what you do or the outcome, and then actually talking about the outcome you deliver. I'm a brand alchemist. I'm a brand magician. I'm a speaking command
Yeah,
specialist.
it's so interesting because I kind of had that experience recently too, and the zookeeper, except mine is Starmaker.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Starmaker, and then but the hook part, I think that's something that I can improve on. And because there are a lot of things you do in your business, and for all entrepreneurs, you don't do just one thing. Like you do webinars, you do copy, you do taglines,
Mm-hmm.
all these different. So you kind of have to pick that thing that's going to be the thing that you're going to use in that situation.
Yes, and you're really, what you're really trying to do is you're trying to get in under those little kind of guard sentries that say she's probably going to try to sell me something. So, shields up, Scotty. Are the marketing shields up? Aye, Captain, the marketing shields are up. And
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of what it is when you talk to someone. And when you say something like, so, Heather, what do? I'm a star maker, shields down, because it's like, whoa, it's unexpected.
Mm.
What do you mean by star maker? And then you bring in the hankering.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and the other thing, it's not everything you do. It's the most desired and provocative,
That's right.
because that will bring everything else along. I mean, you look at Apple's advertising for Apple Computer. How many over 35-year-olds have you seen on an Apple Computer commercial? I've seen 2, and they were on screen for about 6 seconds combined.
Mm-hmm.
So within about 20 feet of where I'm sitting now, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces of Apple hardware.
Mm.
But guess what? I'm not under 35. I guess I didn't get the message.
Mm.
So when you have a strong hook or hankering, it doesn't have to be everything you offer, but it's strong enough to pull in, because it captures the imagination and it gets them to think, what could Heather do for me?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, a star maker. I'm on stage.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just, well, Heather will do a logo for me. It's she can make me a star. She can put me on stage. She can have me she can have me embodying a whole new marketing persona. And like, I'm off to the races and I've sold myself on you.
Yeah, well, great. Yeah, but I think that's a really good point, because even saying, I think this is something a lot of branding people struggle with, is I don't even do logos, right? That's not
Exactly.
even something that I offer.
Exactly.
So you pigeonhole yourself into a process,
Yeah.
into a task, as opposed to a dream maker, right?
Yes. It's like, I call it the ultimate destination. It's like whenever you fly, you always look for the nonstop flights first, right? And you're always a little disappointed, like if you're going to like kind of a smaller town and you have to take a connecting flight, or heaven forbid, 2 connecting flights. It's like, oh no, connecting flights. But a lot of what we message is we message the connecting flights.
Mm-hmm.
I call it so that syndrome.
Mm.
I help entrepreneurs overcome their blocks so that they can gain confidence, so that they can do this, so that they can do that. And I'm just going, okay, so cut out the so that's and just tell me what's at the end of all that.
Okay, so give me an example of something that, because I think a lot of entrepreneurs have been taught that formula. So to get to, so how do you cut that out? How do you cut that out?
You eat dessert first, and you take it. A lot of it has to do, I think, with stepping into taking a risk and stepping into the full impact of what you can do for someone. And
I'm gonna, can I hit these hands?
Sure.
I gotta hit your hands.
What does that do?
I'm giving you some applause.
Oh, okay. I'm seeing little bubbles come up over my picture.
That means I'm applauding for that.
Oh, good. Cool.
I love that.
Cool.
Because when you say, I'm a profit seduction specialist, or is specialist the word that you use, or master,
Mm-hmm.
or guru, or
Specialist.
whatever?
Uh-huh.
That takes cojones, right? I
Yeah,
mean, right?
I better come through.
Exactly. If I say I'm a star maker,
Uh-huh.
that even if I own it, but even it like makes my stomach go "Er," just a little bit, and you really have to step into that role and take
Yeah.
possession of it. But I
Yeah.
also have to say that taking possession of it, just that process of saying, yes, this is what I actually can deliver, is magnetic. Just that
Yeah.
that energy that you produce by taking ownership. You don't even have to say anything else, right? Just having
Mm-hmm.
that confidence is magnetic.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's really why people get stuck in the so that, because it's like, if I just tell them enough intermediate steps, I won't have to step into the big step because that feels scary.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, a lot of times when I help people with their messages, I just go to the end of the message and put that first. Because people always have the ultimate outcome they create, but it's always like, after all this, I help them so that they can make money. So I
Okay.
just go ahead.
So I have a question because I've helped people with their taglines and their pitches too, and I always
Mm-hmm.
I always call it the Chinese fortune cookie of results, because you open the fortune cookie, and for entrepreneurs, it's always more clients, more money, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
99% of the time, that's what they want. So if that is the big end result, how do you differentiate? Right? If you're taking away the so what, so what, so what, and the end
Okay.
result is I make you more money, then how do you put the flavor in there?
Okay. There are a couple different ways to do it. One of the ways is the primary problem you solve. Another way is there a unique way you do it?
Mm-hmm.
For example, with seduction, one of the things I say is, because we all hate to be sold to, but we love to be seduced.
Mm-hmm.
So when you apply the principles of seduction to your marketing, your prospects want you like crazy and buy like crazy.
Mm.
So it's all about making, if you're a marketing coach, it's all about making money. It's about how can you phrase that so it fits your personality and fits the unique way you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like they want you like crazy, they buy like crazy, and it's really about finding the specific problem you're really good at solving. It's about finding the unique way you do something. It's about finding, a lot of times it's about finding a unique name for a common result. For example, Starmaker, I'm a Starmaker. What the common result in kind of internet marketing ease is, I help build your profile, your authority, and your presence, da da da. And it's like, okay, there's nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
But what you're doing is you're saying, okay, this is what I do. I help build your profile, your authority, your reach, blah, blah, blah. So what is a cool way of saying that embodies what's unique about who you are? So for you, it's a star maker.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have a star quality. So it's, for Kristen Thompson, it's rock your talk, because she has a very rock star. I mean, in person,
She's got the blue hair. I mean, she's a
yeah.
rocker, right? Right.
And when she's on stage, she has that kind of, it's an archetype. She cannot not do that. It's not something she puts on. It's something she is. So she owns it and she leads with it.
Mm-hmm.
So here, one of the things, kind of circling back to what we spoke about, kind of stepping into that big space,
Mm-hmm.
and why a lot of people do the so that thing,
Mm-hmm.
is they're afraid of it. But it feels like too much, because a lot of times I hear people say, but I don't want to say that because I can't guarantee the results. So it's like, okay, then don't say the word guarantee. When you actually step into it, you actually find not only is it easier than not stepping into it, you find that you cannot not do it. Because it's like, I cannot not be seductive, and not in the traditional seductive sense. I'm middle-aged guy. I'm not 22 anymore. But that whole, it's a playful sense. it's, when I'm talking, my whole body's getting into it. I'm gesturing, my head is going back and forth, and Heather's going, "Stop it, you're making me dizzy." But it's a whole personality that once I get going, I cannot not do.
Well, and don't you feel like when I adopted Starmaker, which was pretty recent, it's something I had played with. I think I've actually maybe mentioned that to you a couple years ago, that was something that I was playing with the idea, and it wasn't until recently that I really kind of took ownership of it. And once I did, man, I totally felt it in my gut. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, it had completely landed,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to ever get rid of that feeling.
And it gives you an advantage in because it's like a come from. You're coming from Starmaker, so you come up with Starmaker language, you come up with Starmaker analogies, the names of your programs. Even if they don't have the word Starmaker in them, they're infused with that vibe where
Hmm.
you're coming from. And it gives you a certain level of confidence. It gives you a certain level of, and it's not cockiness. It's not that kind of, I'm all that, da da da. It's just, and you're willing to let it fly.
Hmm.
And if they like it, great. If not, that's great too.
Yeah, and I think that I might differ just a tiny bit with what you said is because I I don't think there's anything wrong with being cocky if you're not hurting anyone else and you're
Mm-hmm.
taking away from anybody else's bloom, right? You're not
Right.
taking anyone else's light, then own it. And
Mm-hmm.
be as cocky as you want to be. If you've come and you're coming from a place of genuine service and your heart is in
Mm-hmm.
the right place, who cares?
Okay.
You're not hurting anyone, right?
You've earned it.
It just is. You be that, right? You be that
Mm-hmm.
and you own it. And I think that
Yeah.
say so that brings me to another but wait, before I go to the next thing, I just want to say because I'm so psyched. My girl Kathy just transformed her elevator pitch down here. So I want to read it. She's shifted from I help people get more she's a professional organizer. I help people get more
Mm-hmm.
organized so that they can have a less stressful life versus I transform people's lives from chaos to serenity, one closet at a time.
Mm.
I thought that was a pretty good shift.
Yes. Yeah.
Brava, brava,
That's
Kathy. Nice
nice.
work. Nice
That's
work.
nice.
So I was just about to say, talking about being cocky and owning your star qualities, you have a lot of experience in your background of actually working around people who are really celebrities in the
Mm-hmm.
traditional sense. So I'm wondering what because you work for people who don't know, you worked in Hollywood in the film industry, right?
Mm-hmm. I
So
worked at, yeah.
yeah, so I'm wondering what experience that you had there that you've transformed and brought into your work now to really help people, if anything, what you learned that is helpful or what you saw that you think is not helpful for entrepreneurs to really take ownership of their brand and their business.
That's a great question. Um, well, there are a couple things. I think one thing is one of the things I did is I actually worked behind the scenes. I was a visual effects artist, but I worked on a lot of high profile movies.
Mm-hmm.
There was my claim to fame. There are two claims to fame. One of them is they did a remake of The Shining
Mm.
of and it was with Steven Weber.
I was going to
And
say, Jack Nicholson wasn't in that, was he?
what's that? No, that he was in the original.
Yeah,
This was
okay. He
this was
wasn't in
the
the remake.
remake.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. And so I actually, they had a different way. There's a famous scene with the words red rum.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did the animation with blood running down the walls on red rum. So anyway, that's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And there's all sorts of different things that we could get into. I think the one of the things that I really took away is the ability to move people into a headspace with symbols, with because visual. Here's the thing: visual effects. People know it's not real. When you were watching Matt Damon in The Martian. You know, Matt, they didn't like fly Matt Damon to Mars and the crew and everything. And, you know, they're eating in the morning, they're eating all the craft service food, and then, okay, put on your spacesuits, we're going to shoot.
Huh.
So when you put the symbolism of Mars, it's like people, they get lost in that illusion. Now you can use that for negative and you can use that for good. So anything can be used for negative or good. Fire, water, whatever it is, it can hurt people. So it's power, and you have to be able to use it for good. But this is what a lot of messaging is remember the idea we spoke about at the beginning, the information line and the emotion line. The emotion line is where this really kicks in, because you can evoke through your marketing and messaging. This is really powerful. A full-on experience of the future desired state in the present.
Okay, so say more.
Okay, so let's just use your business as an example. Imagine what it would be like to have everything about your business reflect who you are at the deepest level. So basically, all you did was show up. People fell in love with you and they bought. What would it be like if you could come up with that unique personality brand that excited people about the possibility of working with you to the point that you had a waiting list instead of chasing after them? Now that's kind of off the top of my head. But what I'm doing is
You're good.
Thank you. What I'm doing is I'm evoking a what would it be like imagine feeling. And I'm actually inviting people in to inhabit the space of their success. It's like before we spoke about, from our point of view as business owners, inhabiting that everything we can possibly be. What I'm doing there with the messaging, and this is what I think the movie industry showed, is because so much of the reason people aren't successful is they don't believe it, or they're believing it from a headspace. If I believe it, and something goes wrong, and it's like, oh, I guess I didn't believe hard enough. But when you move people into that experience by saying, imagine what it would be like, and they can feel it. They feel what it's like. They don't have to believe it anymore because it's like they're there. And then all they have to do is do the work so that they get to stay there and work from there. So that's the first thing. The second thing, and this is what I think a lot of people doing messaging have problems with. And that is you're not trying to find the messaging that describes what you do. You're trying to find the messaging that gives people a sense of excitement, intrigue, and interest about what you do. And they're two separate things.
Yeah, say that again, because I loved that, and I don't know if everybody's going to catch it. So that was really good. Say that again.
Because a lot of times when people say what you do, you have to explain it factually. And that's not true. What you try to do is you explain it in a way that has the maximum emotional impact on your market. And in visual effects, there's an interesting correlation, is that when you create animated characters, like animated human beings, like digital human beings, you don't want to make them too real, because you can't. They've actually verified this scientifically. That
of course they have.
Of course they have. But if you try to create with the current state of the art, if you try to create a current, like a real live human being, but do it digitally, it's creepy. Like, remember the movie, what was it, Polar Express? And there are a lot of movies. I think there's one called Beowulf, where there was actually even an animated Angelina Jolie. It's just it's close enough to believe, but it's almost like it's creepy, and it creeps people out. When you get really close to being absolutely real, people are revulsed because they know there's something wrong. But when you create animated characters that have very human characteristics, but are obviously cartoonish, people fall in love with them. So it's when you really try to get close to it. This is the factual idea of what I do. I help entrepreneurs who are 5'2" and blue-eyed and have red hair to, you get too factual, people, it's like, there's something, it doesn't excite them. It doesn't move their imagination. But when you take a step back and you describe what you do in relation to the dreams it makes possible, the impact it has, the transformation it can accomplish, people get inspired and excited. Yeah. So being too precise and real and factual actually drives people away. It's really fascinating.
No, I totally get that. And it makes me think about this. I was listening to an interview. I forget what the guy's, something McCaskill. I forget. It was some guy who does big charity work, and he's raised like $400 million for charity. And he used to go on the street and ask people for donations right on the street. And the interviewer said, well, what did you learn from that experience? And he said, I learned 3 things. First of all, people who are really good looking get more money. The second thing is that people who smile get more money. And the third thing is that people who are friendly get more money. And it has nothing to do with how much you tell them about the cause.
Right.
It's nothing to do with the charity. Because they're in the situation where they don't want to be accosted. They don't want to fork over their money. So the stranger is coming up to them, and their first instinct is what you said, is that wall goes up and they're like, go away. And if you start talking about, the facts of the charity, they don't want to give the money away. But if you start smiling and you're warm and you're personal, you tell a joke, then they see you as a human being, and they don't really care about the charity. They're just happy to give you the money because you made them feel good.
Hi, everyone. I hope you're enjoying the show. There's still more great content to come, but I wanted to take just a minute to talk to you about a new course I've created called Close Any Room. You may have noticed that all of my guests know how to speak about their businesses in a clear and compelling way. But that's something a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with, and it's something you need to know how to do so you can convert your audience into more sales. And that's why I've created this course. It's a 6-week audio course to teach you how to craft a signature talk so that you can authentically give value and close more of your audience from the stage. In the class, you learn how to create a clear and compelling point of view, how to organize your content and give great value to your audience without giving away the farm, how to structure your talk so that it seamlessly closes your audience at the end without feeling salesy. And I also give you templates and instructions how to create marketing materials, a speaker sheet, and all kinds of sign-up sheets when you're giving your talks. And finally, what everybody's hot to know, I also give you tips and resources on how to find speaking gigs. It's an all-inclusive course so that you can start closing and selling more from the stage. And as my free gift to you for tuning into the podcast, I'm giving you my free webinar, also called Close Any Room, and you can listen to it at clearvoicebranding.com/close-any-room. And it will give you lots of tips and information to get you started on how to create that signature talk that sells. Okay, we're going to get back to the show now. There's still more great content to come. Thanks for joining me.
So
it's like there was like a free hugs viral video where some guy in Australia went around giving free hugs, and they documented it on video.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But it's the entertainment industry was very, very interesting in that it's the illusion that calls forth a truth. I mean, without getting Shakespearean and crazy and getting, this is not philosophy, but this idea that for some reason, if I get creative with what I do, if I, talk about outcomes, if I talk about the style with which I do it, I'm somehow turning my back on truth and reality. And actually what I found is the opposite is true, that the more creative you get, the more descriptive you get, actually the closer to the truth of what you do you get, and the bigger impact you have on your prospects.
That's really interesting. So Do you think that that's because you're getting closer to your own truth?
That's a good question. I've never thought of that before. I think it's because I think that's true, and I think that you're getting closer to, because the truth of what you do is profound. I mean, the truth of what we all do is really profound. Like the I guess Kathy, who came up with this amazing
Yeah.
transformation. There's so much there's so much depth in that.
Right.
There's so many places she can go with that. It's like my mind is like, it's like saying, stay focused on the blab here, because right now you want to go off into all the products she could create and the persona and all the blah, blah, blah.
Gotta
You know,
give
my
her a
mind is
call.
just, yeah. But it was just this whole, but it was the imagination of what she described that was actually closer to the truth of the impact she has. Because if your desk is a mess, or if your business is a mess and it's costing you business and it's slowing up your follow-up, that's a big problem and it's painful. So rather than telling people what you do, when you use language like she does that describes the impact and what that makes possible, you touch the part within your client that wants to believe that's possible, and that's what they want.
Yeah, that's really, really, really powerful, and that's what
Yeah.
makes sales. I want, before we end, I want to go back to one thing that you said before, because you were talking about that the future pacing of really helping people believe in the possibility for their future business or life or whatever it is that your business is helping them transform. My question is, because I think this would be very powerful for you, do you turn that on your clients to help them see and believe? Because when you were talking to me for a second, I thought you were talking to me about believing in my business, and then I caught up with you, but I was like in this warm, fuzzy place of you talking to me about believing in that, and I thought, wow, is that something that you do for people, is to help them to see that transformation? Like if for example, like pre-Kathy, pre-transformation in our little chat down here, to help her see really that bigger picture of what that is.
Yes, because the when, I mean, it works on multiple different levels. The first time I actually experienced it was the first time I ever purchased a mastermind program. And the guy who sold me into his mastermind program was masterful at sales. He realized if he did the hard sell, I wouldn't go into his program. So what he did is he said, I wasn't doing what I wanted to do. So he said, so what if you did what you really wanted to do? And I said, I'd be doing this. And he said, why don't you do that with me right now? So I did it, and I was coaching him on something that he didn't know how to do. So here was this guy who made 80 billion times more than I did, and I was going, you need to do, I wasn't like, well, you're this big marketing guy, so who am I to tell you? I just went, no, you need to do this, because if you did this, your launches, I was stepping into my authority. Right. And then he kind of said, imagine what would happen if you did that every day in your business. And I stepped into that future space. So number one, you definitely can use it to show what is possible for your clients. And what I try to do with that is what absolutely I try to do with all of my marketing, with my webinars, with my sales pages, is I try to move people at least a little bit into that future space.
Yeah.
So you can do it for both.
Yeah.
Now with clients, they have to be willing to go there, because some clients you can move them into the future space and they won't kind of get it. They'll follow the intellectual, the words, but they won't actually go there. But the people who actually allow themselves to be transported, that actually allow themselves to be moved to that bigger possibility, they never forget it. And to me, that's what sales is. That's why sales is inspirational. It's not salesy, because the ideal sales conversation is you're moving people into that space of possibility, not as a hypothetical, but as a reality now. They're inhabiting their success. And then you are positioning your product or program as the means to inhabit that space forever.
Okay, so that was totally hot. And now I see why you are the profit seduction specialist.
Thank you.
Because that was very sexy, really. Because that's the feeling that you want to. That is a feeling every single person on the planet is going for.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, just to take a huge leap, I think there'd be fewer terrorists. I think there would be, less famine in the world, all of those things, if people had access to that feeling on a regular basis and were shown the path. So I totally believe that what we do is powerful and transformational. Absolutely.
And everyone who's watching, as whatever it is you do, entrepreneur, business owner, healer, whatever, to me that's the ultimate. Because I never try to sell people my product. What I try to sell people is their dream. And I position my product as the way to get there. I meet them in the midst of their drama. I build a dream, their dream, not mine, their dream. And then I position my product as the bridge across. And then the sales portion is, okay, you have a decision to make. But the decision is not about my product. The decision is about their dream.
Yeah, that made the stakes really high, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because anyone, it's real easy, my brother and sister and my dad could say, Rob, we don't want to buy your product. It's really easy to say, I don't want to buy your stuff. I'm sorry, you're a nice person. I just want to buy your stuff. But when suddenly it's not about your stuff, it's about their dream, it's like, whoa, then it gets. That's why sales is deep and it's profound and it's inspirational. It's not about getting someone to do something. It's about giving them the opportunity to commit at a deeper level to something they're already committed to.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think on that note, I'm going to wrap it up. And because even though they might not be buying your product, they're buying their dream, I still want to give people the opportunity to know how you can help them. So how can people get in touch with you?
Okay.
What can you give us your information?
Sure. You can go to profitseduction.com, and I have a little gift for people. I'm breaking eye contact because I need to find the link. One of the things that I've recently made available, which at one point I was only making available in my paid classes, but I'm now making available during special interviews as a gift, it's called the Big Money Launch Maps. And what I've done is I've taken 5 of the most popular, most lucrative kinds of launches, which is a webinar launch, a video sequence launch, the headphone repositioning launch, which I'm doing right now. But it's 5 launches that I've made money from, or my clients have made money from. And it's literally mapping out how you sequence them on, number 1, on a calendar, and number 2, giving short descriptions of what the emails need to be in that sequence. And so it basically gives you a map for these seductive launches, a map for how to do a video launch, how to do a webinar launch, and a couple other launches. There's actually a launch called a Going, Gone launch that you can actually use to make money for stuff you're discontinuing. But
cool.
I'll give you the URL. It's Profit Seduction, spelled like it sounds, profitseduction.com /launch, LAUNCH -maps -offer. So it's profitseduction.com.
Okay, I'm putting it in the chat, so let me know if I got it right. Can you see it?
Let me see. Okay.
I think I got it right. And the people can go right there.
Where is the chat? Yeah. Profitseduction.com, launch-maps. Let me move. Yeah, launch-maps-offer.
Perfect.
And that should be it.
Cool. Well, thank you so much. Okay, 2 last questions for you. What do you think of when you think of someone who has star quality? What does that mean when someone's a star?
When someone is a star. Okay, all the NLP people are going, he's looking up to his left.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
What does that mean?
I have to type that to Google it.
It's like Blab is, I'm sure it's like a field day for NLP people. They're going, oh my God, he's insecure. Oh my God, he blah, 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 blah. Anyway. Well, so I'm going to have to control, if I do more Blabs, I'm going to have to control where my eyes go.
Well, you know what? This is going to go on the podcast, so we're going to be on iTunes. No one's going to see it. We're going to be, it's going to be audio, so no worries.
All right.
I'm going to tell everybody that you were looking directly at the camera.
Directly at the camera, yes. All right. So, and I got totally flustered, and so it was star power. What is star power? Star power is, this is going to sound flaky, but I'm just going to put it out there. When someone so completely inhabits who they are that they can't help but project it around them in everything they do. Stars don't. Now, I think it takes practice. It's like anything else. I think you have to practice being in that place, but I think once you're able to inhabit that place, star power, it's harnessing the engine of who you are to the degree that you can project it without trying to. And it just, people are like, whoa, people feel kind of that expression, but it's not like a manipulation. I think star power is very different than manipulation. Manipulation is, if I put my finger on my chin, just the thumb, and kind of look off to the left, they'll think I'm really intelligent and smart. That's manipulation. So but star power, star power is not like, the internet marketing picture. This is the typical internet marketing headshot.
No, that's the guy's typical. That's the guy's typical one. That's not the girls.
I've seen women do it too. I've seen when it's really funny. It's like when the guy is like this and the woman is like this and they're back to back. It's like, no, please. Anyway, so but star power is not that. It's not calculated. Star power is not calculated. It just happens. And again, it's not that you don't have to practice it, and it's not that you don't have to work at it. But once you nail it, it emanates from you, and people get it, and it's like they can't get enough of it.
So I totally agree with that. I don't know if you have one little tip. How do you think you practice that to build that muscle? What is it one thing that someone could do to practice to build that muscle?
How I think you would do it is you find a little microcosm where you can practice that, where you can inhabit it on a small level. So for you, it might be videos. It might be...
For me, honey, it's the Metropolitan Opera. That's where I want to inhabit that.
So what you might do is when you go to the opera, you take your iPhone and it's like, hey, it's Heather here for, another clear voice tip. I'm here at the Met and these people have really clear voices, so I better give you a killer tip. So it's, it could be something like that. And obviously you don't have a problem with that, but for people in the audience, I think the way to do it is you find microcosms or little, whether it's Facebook, whether it's video, whether it's blogs, whether it's Pinterest, your little area that is like your home base where you're comfortable. Mm-hmm. And you practice being that, that voice. Yeah. And you'll so inhabit it in that microcosm and you'll so own it that then you start to build that out and build that out and build that out. quick story. The first time I ever did that was years ago. I was doing video in my business, and Michael Port had. I took Michael Port's class, and somehow we got into discussion about Flash animation, and from there we got into a discussion about me doing Flash animation which is like a animated cartoon kind of a thing for his Book Yourself Solid launch. Now, at the time, Michael Port's list was about 25,000 and my list was about 250. But because I'd been in movie visual effects and because Flash animation, very few people were doing it, especially in the marketing space, I could be in my little Flash animation microcosm and have a totally one-on-one discussion of equals with Michael. Now, Michael's a nice guy, so he saw me as an equal anyway. I didn't see myself as an equal because it's like, oh, he has this big list and I have a tiny list. But because I inhabited that little corner of my universe, I was able to grow into someone who could eventually see myself as working with really high profile people. So I think that's a real way to practice your star power in a small area and then grow it so that you're doing it all the time.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and one of the things that I always tell people as well is to follow that yes. Whenever you feel a yes inside, do it. And on a small, in the same way, you can do a small thing like, oh, I should say this. And then don't give into that space that happens between the yes and the, I don't think I should do that. Or what are they going to say? You just have to do it. So whenever you feel that impulse of that yes and that little, and I'm big into the body, like I think whenever you feel something in your body in a certain way, and you get it in your stomach or your chest or wherever that you feel that excitement, that's a yes. And then you do that and you follow that and then you let the chips fall where they may. And usually it's a really great thing that comes out of it. So that's one. So, okay, last question. As we are sitting here screen to screen, face to face, you're in your chair, I'm in my chair. What are you in this moment most grateful for?
Bada boom. Okay, since you just mentioned not stopping with the yes, it's like the first thing that came to my mind is I'm so glad we finally got these camera settings right.
Yeah, that's great.
It's like, I have a little camera adjustment app on my Mac, and it was totally getting in the way of the video. So as soon as I switched it off or switched it onto automatic, it's like, boom, it worked. So that's the first thing that came to my mind is like, I'm so glad I figured that out. What am I grateful for right now? I'm really grateful for the fact that seduction works, because I don't know if I could do it any other way. I really don't. I'm not trained in sales. I've never taken a sales class. I've never taken a copy class, really.
Wow.
Wow,
That's amazing.
Yeah. I've never, I wasn't a marketing major. I took an economics class in college. That's like the closest I came to.
So just I don't mean to interrupt your gratitude, but so how did you fall in? You didn't do copies training, you didn't do sales training, you weren't a marketer. How did you discover the art of seduction in your marketing?
Survival.
Because you pay attention, right?
Yeah. The one of the things I truly believe is the people who advance in this business the fastest are the people who can say, oh, look at what Heather just did with her head. She kind of cocked it at a little angle, and wow, I just got this amazing experience of authority. And then they go, okay, so let me try to do that. It's literally watching what other people do and going and feeling the impact. And then saying, how did they do that? And reverse engineering it and going, oh, this is what they did. And this is how I can do what I can do to create that same impact.
Yeah. So
a lot of it was really just being observant and allowing myself to feel what I was feeling. So, and not, I would go to these, real estate sales presentations and go, I have no I have no interest at all in spending $1,000 on a course on how to sell multifamily dwellings in Alaska. But this guy did such a great job. I'm spellbound.
Wow.
And then I go, how did he do that? Because I have no interest. I'm not going to pay him money. I didn't want to get my credit card out, but I'm fascinated by him and his presentation. So I actually went back and I saw him two more times when I had the opportunity, and I was like, oh, that's what he did. That's what he did. Mm-hmm. So it's really, and again, it's not about manipulation. Mm-hmm. It's about how can I apply that to who I am so it's authentic and natural.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. And, not everybody can do that. So I want to let you know that what I'm grateful for is for you taking your time to share your expertise with us, and for the fact that you actually did listen and go back 2 times and refine and integrate all of those ways of being authentic and being seductive so that you could teach that to other people and have a really powerful and integrity-filled way of helping people grow their businesses, and for your enthusiasm and for your heart and for just the light that you bring into the world. So I really want to thank you and acknowledge you for being here tonight. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you. So if you want to get in touch with Rob, you're going to go to ProfitSeduction.com, and he has a wonderful great gift for us. It's in the chat, ProfitSeduction.com/launch-maps-offer. So, and I want to thank you for being here as well. And my gift to all of my folks that come to my Thrive podcast is my gift for the 3 webinar on how to speak and become profitable from stage at clearvoicebranding.com/close-any-room. Sorry, it's late. I'm trying to keep all my ducks in a row. But thank you so much for being here. Go check out Rob's his website. He is phenomenal. His stuff is phenomenal. Go get some of his reports and check him out. He is the real deal. I cannot recommend him highly enough. So go check him out. Thank you so much for being here, Rob.
Thanks, Heather, for having me.
Okay, we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Thrive. I loved having you here. I love having you as part of my community. And if you're enjoying the show, I would love it if you share it with your friends on Twitter, on Facebook, or wherever they're hanging out. I also want to let you know you can leave me feedback or comments. I love hearing from you. Just post those at heatherpoduska.com. You can also leave suggestions for topics that you'd like to know more about, or if there's someone you'd really like to see on the show, let me know that as well. Okay, until next time, here's to hitting all your high notes. Take care. Bye-bye.